Hi and welcome back to Tales from Tech Support, I don't work here lady. In today's episode, it's MORPHIN time. My encounters. No, lady, not mall cop, actual cop. I don't work here, but I know the answers. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. It's MORPHIN time. This happened a while back, 6 months? If the girl this story is about has posted this somewhere, I apologize because I looked and could not find it. It's her story. While in a box chain with my wife, I head over to the electronics section to browse around and wait out a husband's slow death if I just need a few things. There is girl there that I am guessing is in high school since she had high school sweatshirt on the same color of the box store's colors. She is looking at cell phone cases when middle-aged man walks up to her and asks her to get the key to a display case for Xbox or PlayStation something. I was not paying attention to either of them until I hear the "excuse me." This girl is 5'0" in a sweatshirt and jeans. The guy is close to 6 foot and dressed in business casual and is very confident in himself. He doesn't even suspect how outmatched he is with this kid. She says, "I don't work here." And the self-important male Karen starts. I am not going to get the dialogue between them exactly right since I have nowhere near Hero Girl's ability to think my feet like she did. Plus it went on for a couple minutes and would be forever on this post. MK, then why are you behind the counter? I am not behind the counter. MK, you're by the counter straightening inventory, so you better help me, or I will get your manager. I cannot remember this part without hearing, "It's MORPHIN time," in my head. I actually start to go over the help the kid out, but there was no need. HG turns to face MK, "I am looking for a specific case for my iPhone, whatever number, so are you going to help me or not?" MK, wait, what? I don't work here. HG, neither do I. I am not going to get into the whole thing, but he would demand something of her, then she would demand something from him, and it would end the same way every time. MK, I don't work here. HG, neither do I. This went on for a couple of minutes and HG pulled out all the stops. He would say something and she would come back with a sick grandbaby. Son lost his job, dad was dying of cancer, mom was in an accident, daughter getting married. She had to have 5 parents and 10 kids, and the whole time this guy just kept going. They threatened to have each other fired so many times it was head spinning. As he got mad and moved closer to her, she would say, 6 feet, or I will tell your manager you are violating your store's distancing policy. He would back up a little and say, I don't work here. Neither do I. That happened twice. The woman that was working electronics came out and asked what the problem was, and they both tried to have each other fired. She tried to say neither of them worked there and finally said, I don't get paid enough for this stuff, and left them to it. A woman with a small child bumped into me from behind and then started watching with me. The child tugged on her arm to go and she said, Hush baby, I'm watching this. That made us both chuckle. A manager came up behind us and looked at the scene and said, Really? He finally tries to intervene, but can't get a word in edgewise. It ends finally with both of them saying at the exact same time, I don't work here. Neither do I. Think Abbott and Costello, who's on first. The MK looks at the girl, then the manager, then the girl, then the manager. The manager finally says, Out of the 3 of us I am the only one that works here now, how can I help you? HG, where are the iPhone, whatever number, cases? Manager points to an aisle and HG says pleasantly, Thank you. She absolutely bounces over to the aisle without a care in the world. Manager turns to MK, and you sir. He stammers for a minute and finally, sheepishly explains what he needs. The woman that bumped into me says better than anything I have seen all week on Netflix. Me, I rush to find my wife and tell her what happened. So when you hear the excuse me, say something like there you are, where is the ketchup? Works like a charm. Finally, if HG reads this, either make a post of what you said or post it in the comments. You were brilliant. My encounters. So I have worked in customer service for a while, but I somehow get asked for help when I am not at my job, and I don't know why. So here are my favorite stories of IDWHL. Number 1. When I was working my first job, I decided to go into Wally World after my shift, wearing red polo and black pants. This is probably around 7:45 p.m. since I was working the closing shift. I was minding my own business buying some food because I was really hungry. I usually ate a light lunch since I am always walking at work. This gentleman comes up to me and starts asking me questions about a chair and desk. Now, I was thoroughly confused and looked in front of me to make sure I was in the right place, freezer section, cause I also had a hankering for pizza rolls. I told him, "Sir, I apologize, but I do not work here." He goes, "Yes, I know. You work at Office Depot, right?" I was so confused because I did work there at the time, so I just shook my head yes. He then rants for about 30 seconds about needing a chair and desk for his home office, and he has the audacity to ask me what we have in stock. In my head I'm like, "Sir, we are in Walmart. You think I know what we have in stock right now?" But I decided to be a bit too nice, and I replied to him, "Well, sir, we have different styles of chairs and desks in stock. You can come by the store between the hours of this and that and we will be happy to help you. Plus, if you don't see anything you like in store, you can shop online and have it delivered to your home. But for further details, I recommend you call the store during their opening hours," and I pull out a business card from Copy and Print and give it to him. He keeps pressing for me to help him there, and then as I am trying to walk away, I reply with, "I am sorry, sir, I do not want to tell you the wrong information. Definitely call the number on the card tomorrow during business hours and someone will assist you," and yes, I stressed the during business hours part, and then I walked away, more like run away, with my pizza rolls. Number 2. About 5 years later, I was in a new job and my uniform was solid black, business casual attire. I got off work early and decided to go to Kroger to get some stuff. I visited this Kroger a lot since it is down the strip from my work, so I knew the general layout. I am walking through the water aisle looking for my Propel water, and then this lady starts calling out, "Ma'am? Ma'am?" I look at the lady and I am like, "Yes," and then she asks me where a certain item was. It's been a while so I can't exactly remember what it was. I look down at my uniform and then look where I am at. I told her, "I'm sorry ma'am, I do not work here," and she immediately starts apologizing a lot, and she is clearly embarrassed. Then she looks at her cart, and I can tell she looks stressed out. I assume she has had a long day, so I offered to help her. So I went to a Kroger employee and asked for the lady, and the employee was like, "Yeah, go to aisle 13 and look on the bottom shelf on the right." I told him thank you and I ran back to the lady and told her what the employee told me. She smiled and looked so happy. She said she was new to town and has had a rough day, and she thanked me for being so nice to help her. She went on her way to the aisle, and I left feeling happy that she was happy. Number 3. Last year, I was dressed in my black polo, which has my current company logo on it, and tan pants. Plus, I had a mask on. I was waiting for my dad at the pharmacy at Wally World, and there was this lady who kept yelling about looking for bikes. I was looking around to see who was yelling, and who she was yelling at. Lo and behold, she was yelling at me about where she can find children's bikes. I kept trying to tell her that I do not work there, but she kept yelling and wouldn't let me finish my sentence. So me being a good Samaritan, I pointed her to the toys department. She then starts yelling at me and asks me for my name, so she can report me to a manager. I then point at the logo on my shirt and her eyes go wide and she runs away from me. Summary. Number 1. Guy knows where I do truly work, but still insists on asking me questions about chairs and desks while standing in the freezer aisle at Walmart while I'm holding a bag of pizza rolls. Number 2. Genuine nice lady who has had a rough day needed some help, so I decided to help her. Number 3. Very loud lady did not let me speak. Then got scared when I pointed to my shirt's logo. I hope you all enjoyed these stories. This is my first time posting to Reddit, so please forgive me if I placed these stories in the wrong area. Thank you and hope you all have a good day. No, lady, not mall cop, actual cop. Okay, so slightly disingenuous title, as I'm English, and we don't have mall cops, just regular security guards. Also on mobile, so forgive me. In a former life, a few years ago now, I was a police officer here in good old England. I moved from a team dealing with action-packed 999 calls, speeding around in old Ford Focuses, or is that Focusi, and dealing with interesting things, to working in a team that supported a large shopping complex, shoplifting, antisocial behavior, real hard-hitting stuff. The uniform was a white shirt, black tie, and if I was out and about, a stab vest over the top with one of the big pointy hats too. If I was on a break, though, I just put my normal jacket on to cover my shoulder numbers. This was mainly for personal security, so to a casual observer I was just a bloke in a white shirt with a black tie. Cue the moment. I just finished dealing with the paperwork from a shoplifting, and had a hankering for a sandwich. I locked my vest and hat away but left my belt of tools, can of spray, cuffs and metal stick England again on. I popped a plain black jacket over the top and ventured into the shopping complex in search of a footlong sandwich specified and acquired. I paid the well-known outlet and ambled to a seating area to mind my own business and chow down. Probably no less than 5 minutes later I clock a woman, the usual type, attempting to buy a sandwich. Now from her big arm gestures I skillfully deduced she wasn't happy. That's not a crime, so back to my sandwich I went. Until, of course, the voices became raised and a hand was slammed on the counter. I tucked the remains of my sandwich in the bin and ambled over to see what the commotion was. Now working in the team I was a known face in the center, and I enjoy a long sandwich, so the staff knew me and my job, so they relaxed a little, which really irritated the woman. I quickly realized they didn't have the filling she wanted, and she was refusing to take no for an answer. Me, is everything all right here? The woman turns and eyes me over. Now I'm in my early 20s at the time, so she makes me for a security guard. Karen, FS sake, I don't need security. This little ST won't make my FKG sandwich. Me, okay, firstly, you need to stop swearing. Secondly, I'm a level up from security. She didn't like this. Karen, oh piss off, I just want my sandwich. She ignores me and goes back to banging her hand on the desk and gesturing wildly at the teen behind the counter. Me, you need to stop that. She rounds on me again. Karen, I said piss off. I know the management here, so fuck off back to standing around outside Debenhams, or I'll get you sacked. Me, I don't care, I'm warning you that you need to stop swearing, it's a public order offense. Karen, or what? I just want my F-King sandwich, not some jumped-up plastic policeman interfering. Fuck off. Me, stop swearing, you're causing a scene, and stop hitting that counter, or you'll be arrested. Karen, don't FKG tell me what to do, think you're Billy Big BLKS. Just a wannabe cop, you can't arrest me, get me your boss now too. She was slamming her palms on the sneeze guard with each word, and I think I'd been patient enough at that point, so I unzip my jacket to reveal I am in fact a uniformed police constable. Her eyes widen as she sees the cuffs on my belt. Me, nope, I'm arresting you under Section 5 of the Public Order Act. The arrest is necessary to prevent injury to others and damage to property. You don't have to say anything, but it may harm your defense, etc. Now I had no intention of cuffing her, I was twice her size, so not necessary. Instead I steered her, spluttering, to a table and sat her down as I called for a car to pick us up. After another 30 minutes of her refusing to believe she'd done anything wrong, I eventually gave her a penalty notice to dispose of the matter, so her non-sandwich swear fest ended up costing her £80 instead. I don't work here, but I know the answers. A couple towns away from my current residence, while running errands, I came across this massive Jo&Fabrics. It was very conveniently located right next to the store I was needing to pick something up from. So, being the crafty nerd that I am, I couldn't resist venturing inside this behemoth of a hobby house. I wandered a bit aimlessly, dazed by all the shiny moments I was having, when I found myself in front of a clearance section in the back. As I admired how even their clearance section was delightfully organized, I saw someone approach me from an adjacent aisle out of the corner of my eye. "Excuse me, but do you have any idea how to find the price on this? There are so many stickers but none of them have the price." I turned to find a woman in her 50s with graying blonde, bobbed hair staring at me plaintively, clutching a large box of glass mason jars to her chest. Her tone of voice suggested that she didn't actually think I worked there, but it was obvious her confused frustration had her vocally reaching out to the nearest person in the vicinity. She might have just been looking for someone to commiserate with her about the confusing number of barcodes this single box had been slathered with, but she lucked out. I had worked for several years at a big box craft store in days of yore, and had the answer she needed. I recognized those tricksy shipping barcodes, bane of all new retail employees just trying to find the right darn barcode to scan. I pointed out the small one on the bottom corner of the box, printed on the cardboard beneath the plastic wrap. "Well, that's the one they'll need to scan, but..." The unspoken words of, "there's no price near it" hung in the air as she turned to where she had found the box. I noted that all of the pricing stickers usually placed on the shelves beneath various items had been removed, so there was genuinely no hint as to the possible cost of any of the items on that aisle. But then I remembered a price scanner I had seen a couple aisles away next to the ribbon. I literally had the thought, a price scanner. Neat, as it flashed red in my eyes from being placed rather oddly high on a pole. I conveyed as much to the woman, about there being a price scanner nearby, not that it so scandalously flashed me, and proceeded to hunt down the ribbon aisle while she followed me. I gave myself a mental high five for remembering the location correctly, and showed her how to use the scanner. $15.99. She looked crestfallen. "That's a bit much. I guess I'll go put this back." As she turned to leave, I pulled out my phone. "Do you have their app? They might have a good coupon going on." "Not sponsored, I swear." She stopped, acknowledged my comment with a hopeful tone and begun trying to dig her phone out of her pocket while I pulled up the app. I scrolled through the coupons and found a lovely little 50% off coupon. I showed her my phone screen, I watched as mental calculations occurred, and then her face became bright with happiness. "I'm going to go get a bigger box. Thank you so much," she enthusiastically called over her shoulder as she hurried back to the bulk jar section. I might have been a little bit ridiculous after that, strolling out of there like I was king, thinking I made them a sale, and I don't even work here. They should just hire me now. I do really well here. I know most of the snap, is that 60% off? And that was my rather undramatic IDWHL experience. Might be a bit boring, but it made me really freaking happy to make some else happy, and you guys don't seem to get much of that on this sub. The like. All parties satisfied type of thing, I mean.